clicked on this video because you suck at Blackout and need help winning solo matches. Don't worry, I suck too. Early gunfights and solo matches suck even more than duo or quads. It's extremely stressful and nothing is worse than, always getting killed before you can make it to the final circle. And when you do get to the final circle, you choke or do something like this. So I'm going to share with you today the way that I've come up with to get the solo win as easy as possible when you don't have those pro skills all lined up yet. If I give you a bunch of tips to go ahead and get your arsenal by killing enemies and looting them and taking the high ground and giving you a bunch of steps, this is helpful. These are pro tips, but that takes practice. When you're done watching this video, you're going to have a clear set of instructions that's going to help you win a solo match today. And that's why this is going to be the most helpful video you ever had on winning solo matches in Blackout. Hi, I'm Crash Power. Thank you for checking on this video. If you're new, I'd like to ask you to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. I'd really appreciate it. We're going to get right into it, and the strategy involves stress-free looting. That's right. You're going to need several things to make it to the final circle. You're going to need sufficient armor, preferably level 2, level 3 armor. You're going to need not just the right weapons, but you're going to need the right equipment and perks, because when it comes to the end game, it's not all about the weaponry. For example, getting sick of being blinded by concussion grenades? The reinforced perk does this. That's right, it gets rid of it almost instantaneously. You definitely want to have concussion grenades and cluster grenades in the final circle, but there are other things that might be worth holding on to and not using earlier in the game, like a tomahawk. A tomahawk will kill somebody instantly. And the method today I'm going to show you to get all your weapons, equipment, and perks doesn't involve killing a single enemy. As a matter of fact, you want to avoid any early game engagements in this solo match. It may not be the most exciting way to play Blackout, but we're going to focus on a strategy that's going to consistently get you in the final 5 to give you the best chance to win with the skills you already have. Oh, shit. Which will be even easier since you'll know what to bring with you. And some very important do's and don'ts you may not be aware of a solo final 5. For stressful looting, the first thing we need to let you know is helicopters are the primary source of our strategy. The best way to snag multiple supply drops and get them first is through a helicopter. You can loot more weapon boxes, medical bags, large weapon crates, supply drops than any other method in the game. Now, you may think a lot of people shoot down helicopters all the time. In a solo match, it does happen, but you would be surprised. It doesn't happen as frequently as one might think, especially if you take precautions and fly low when necessary. But you really don't have to do that all the time. You would be amazed how long people will let you fly around because they don't want to give up their position in a solo match. And yes, there's always some idiot that wants to shoot at you with a 50 caliber sniper rifle and give away his position. That's fine. Remember, there's more than one helicopter spawning in each game. Make sure the other helicopters don't fall into enemy hands. If you've got a scratch or two on your existing helicopter, upgrade for a new one. Now, the strategy initially involved getting to the opposite side of the map from where, everyone parachutes in from the helicopters. If the helicopters that drop everyone goes through the middle of the map, this is bad. This is not very conducive to our stress-free looting strategy. Not impossible. What you really want is the extreme left, right, top, or bottom. Now, in my previous video, I showed you how to jump further and faster than anyone else in the game so you could get to a specific location almost anywhere on the map before your enemies. If you don't know what I'm talking about, be sure to click this link or in the description below to watch that video. It's only 2.5 minutes long, but you're not going to use the strategy to get as far as you normally would. You're going to use the strategy to stay in the air as long as possible so you can search thoroughly for the nearest helicopter. You always will be able to beat any enemy to it as long as you follow the instructions in this and the previous tutorial, and you'll be amazed. With the exception of the turbine area, if someone does beat you to the ground, they will always go for a weapon first. So, grab a helicopter. In this example, I have my favorite setup. My favorite place to stress-free loot is the turbine area, and the helicopters dropped everyone off at the very tippy top of the map here. So, There's no way someone's going to be able to float all the way to the bottom corner of the map, which means if I get to a helicopter quick, I'll have some time before I have to worry about anybody, if anybody shows up, for some stress-free looting. And the thing I love about these turbines is you can float in the helicopter and look in the door to see whether or not one of these loot boxes is actually inside. And if not, I just move on. No reason to get out and pick up a bandage or two. I keep going and going until I find one of these little loot crates. You'll get trauma kits, armor. Oh, by the way, there is repair armor you need to make sure that you get, and it's plentiful down here. It used to be able, some people are upset about the repair armor, but it's a necessity. Anytime you get repair armor or you kill an enemy who has better armor, you can take it off of them and repair it. You used to be able to carry 10 of these items, now you can only carry 5, which is plenty. By default, you have 100 health. However, if you have armor, regardless if it's level 1, level 2, level 3, your health is automatically increased to 150. Level 1 armor has 30% damage reduction, level 2 armor has 40% damage reduction, and level 3 has 50% damage reduction, and I think a little help from explosives. Another thing important to note, trauma kits. Whenever you get one of these trauma kits, and it shouldn't be too hard to get more than one if you follow my instructions, use one immediately. Those 2 bars on the end with the armor means now my max health is at 200. This is important, and you want to keep it there for the final circle. As you can see here, I'm able to, fly around from door to door, not being worried about anybody messing with me or shooting me. I loot. I go to unnamed places in this area until I have what I need. If the turbine area is anywhere near the helicopter path at the beginning of the game where everyone is deployed, don't even bother going there. Go to the top of the map. Look on the top of flat buildings. You will find loot boxes, weapon crates, trauma kits. Hover down close enough to the roof to see if the other items on the roof are still there. That means it's very likely no one's in the house, it hasn't been looted, and most importantly, the loot box that you're landing to get is probably still full. Also, a lot of times in the turbine area, I don't get my level 2 or level 3 armor in the turbines. You can actually tell the difference between level 1 and level 2 armor from the air. So sometimes even if there's not a loot box, I can see that there's level 2 armor. I'll land, get it, and take off. I don't bother going downstairs and looting the entire building. The most important thing right now is to evade and loot. Now, as far as perks go, use perks as soon as you get them because you never know when you're going to die. However, there are some perks that you always want to save for your end game, like Dead Silence, maybe Skulker, or Awareness, but Dead Silence is number 1. And hopefully you can either get that reinforced perk I showed you earlier, or a trophy system, which is a little bit better, I guess, than the perk because you can pick up a trophy system after you've deployed it. You keep picking it up and picking it up. Get familiar with whatever loot routes you choose. It gives you an advantage to know where possible enemies might be and where some of the loot could be. There are equipment, grenades that you want to make sure you have. It'll be very advantageous. A concussion grenade and cluster grenades. Save these for your end game. Sensor darts are pretty good, trophy systems. Don't forget, if you find a combat axe, save it, because silent weapons are very important in solo mode, especially when you're in the final circle. You need to pay attention to sound. Sound is key, especially if someone else is wearing level 3 armor. You make a lot more noise with your footsteps. The heavier the armor, the more noise you make. Solo matches can be a lot more boring since you don't have any teammates to talk to, but that also means your opponent aren't probably talking to anybody else either. So you'll hear a lot more than you'd realize as opposed to a duo or a quad match. So remember, sound is key. Silencers are worth their weight in gold, and otherwise I would recommend a long barrel if you're in a quad or duo, but silencers and silent weapons are essential. It's not that you're attempting to, keep the player you're shooting at from hearing where you're shooting from. It's important to keep someone else nearby from shooting you as you're trying to take out an opponent, because in solo mode, when they hear gunfire, you can pretty much count on someone else coming to shoot the victor in the back when they're not expecting it. So silent weapons are very important. They can help save you from getting shot in the ass when you're trying to, take care of an enemy you're shooting at. Headshots are very important as well. Try to shoot upper torso or headshots. If you're facing an enemy opponent with equal armor and you're shooting him in the waist versus him shooting upper chest or headshots, that's why sometimes you die and you think that you should have been able to get the kill. Do not engage enemies unless you absolutely have to. Avoid them at all costs. You don't want to expend these precious resources you're trying to spend your time quickly collecting without being noticed on early game engagements. Save it for your end game. It's not as fun, but basically your goal is to loot away from the majority of enemy players and hide somewhere until it's appropriate near the end of the game. In fact, in this video clip, after I got what I needed, the circle was in the turbine area, and I hit up here upon this turbine. Very boring. However, I didn't have to kill anything, and then, before I knew it, it was a one-on-one situation. Unfortunately, I didn't kill him, but I came close. So if you are frustrated that you can't get a solo win, I know it's not action and going out and killing as many people as possible. That's in another tutorial. Right now, we want you to be able to go out as soon as you're watching this video and get that solo win today. Let your opponents kill each other. Resist the normal urge you would have for multiplayer by engaging any enemy you see. It only needs to be advantageous for you to engage them. Like if you need more loot, but avoid it until you're in the last 5 and then play wisely. If you can. You always want to make sure that when you're in play, you know that no one is behind you, if you can help it. So if you can't hide out of bounds or find a good hiding spot, stay at the edge of the circle and work your way in. This strategy does not work every single game. Sometimes you'll get, locked on and they'll shoot you down. But you'd be surprised how successful and how frequently you can make it into the final showdown and finally get that solo win. I can't thank you enough for your time on this video. I would love to see what you think about it and anything else you'd like to see on this channel. Please let me know in the comments below. Also, if this is your first time here, welcome. I'd love for you to subscribe. You'll find more tutorials like this and hilarious gameplay and live streams all right here in one channel. I'm a fellow gamer just like you and started a YouTube channel 4.5 years ago with a mission to provide premium quality tutorials, give you all the information you're looking for in one video so you can get back to playing. And I can't thank you enough for your time. Subscribe and I'll see you next time. Bye.
Let's look at that epic gameplay one more time with our slow-mo instant replay cam.